Hi, it's Sunny here, and today I'm starting work on my new Moonlight Jewel Pokemon themed outfit. I'm very excited to get this started. It's her new pattern book. I'm using the college jacket, the crop top from the baby doll dress, and the dungarees. I always think it's important when making an outfit to lay everything out together. That way you can kind of see how your colours are going to work together. One thing that I've changed already is the pink on the dungaree pattern. This was initially a really light pink, but with the jacket it didn't really stand out at all. Another thing I'm going to change from the pattern is I'm going to add a lining to the college jacket. I'm going to start on the college jacket first, since the other patterns require time to dry some pieces. Now, for the lining, one thing that I often do is make the arms a lot wider. I'm not adding lining to the arms, just more like the inside of the jacket part that you can see. So making this part wider and adding some fray stop so that I'm not going to put a hem in there at all. The pattern requires that this actually be stretchy fabric, but I'm actually using non-stretchy fabric. I've done this before and it's worked out, but it's really important to make sure that you've actually got a stretchy bottom. I'm adding some decorations with little sakuras that I've cut out and a little pokeball. I will say that when you glue these on, they should not fray or drop off or anything. For this next part, I need to make sure to give myself a little bit extra here for where the seam's going to come in. Then I'm going to stretch this bottom out so that it fits and sew it to the bottom here. After that, I'm going to sew this on top so that it flips over so that all the seams are on the inside. After sewing that down, I'm going to flip it back and then I'm going to glue this part of the collar so that it just hits over the seams there. Because I want my jacket to have an open look, I'm not going to sew any fastenings on. But at this point, I'm just going to fold everything inside and then sew down this. So it just sort of tucks in. And as I'm going to sew one or two seed beads in, just to sort of act as buttons. I'm going to try and make sure that I get them at the same side at the other side. I'm not doing anything fancy with the dungarees outside of what was on the instructions already. They are super simple to make. Well, I do add a little bit of a belt and some beads, but that's just about it. I really do love this pattern. So for the hat, I've managed to make my own pattern. I've drawn it out in pencil across the back, so I'll just literally sew up these lines so that it looks like this on the inside. I've glued across the back to give it like a stiffer sort of texture, and I've painted two of the sections white so that it'll look more like your traditional baseball cap. I've covered the front in some paper across the bottom and some fabric across the top, just glued it down and just bent it a bit. That way it could have more of a look. And on the inside, essentially, I'm just going to lift up these tabs and glue it in. It's actually a really simple pattern to make. So after I made Kyuubi for my Madoka doll, a friend recommended to me that I make Alolan Vulpix from Pokemon. Like I needed to point out that Vulpix was from Pokemon. Don't be daft, Summer. Anyway, I was going to use the same technique that I've used for Kyuubi last time. It's going to be a little bit difficult because obviously the head's going to be a bit larger, there's more details on there, and this is the second time I've ever done it, and you know, experience has taught me that things never go quite the same the second time around, but I'm just hoping that everything's going to be absolutely fine. It should be. It's just wrapping wire around and putting clay on, and literally it's the most simplest thing that you could possibly do. With the exception of actually sourcing all of the fabrics. Just for some reason I found it really difficult to get hold of like short pile floofy fabrics. I've stuffed the body. One of the things that I start by doing is just gluing the neck on, and then rather badly stitching like separate body parts. So each one of the tails are sewn on badly, and the legs are sewn on badly, and then just stuffed with the fluff that I get after making yarn wigs. And then I do the same for the floof. But the difference is when you actually start sewing the floof to the stuffing part, it actually turns out looking quite nice. I will chop some of this floof down, otherwise actually sewing these legs are going to be impossible. And also I want the tails to look like the fluffiest parts. This is a disaster. I've been working with epoxy for a few years now and I've never had a result like this. Seriously, it had gone hard, it was cured, everything was fine. A few days later it suddenly starts like melting and dropping to pieces. This is so terrible. So what I've done here is I have just chipped it all away at the bad stuff as much as I possibly could, then just waited a few days, gone away, come back to it, and fixed it up as best as I could. I literally could not bring myself back to this project. Oh, it was a nightmare. And here is the finished outfit. I really love it. I think it works together really well. It was super easy to make, and I had a lot of fun doing it. I think the baseball cap really throws it in together for the Pokemon trainer though. It really just works for this outfit. The Alolan Vulpix was a super pain to make with all of my issues with the epoxy sculpt, that has come together quite well in the end. The eyes are still a bit sticky, I'm not really sure how to fix that. I'm thinking I might be having some issue with some old UV gel, and I might just have to redo them at some point or just deal with them as they are. But it works, it looks cute, I'm happy.